Social Media University.
Josh, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here and talk some Instagram today.
Cheers for having me, Ben. Pleasure to be on here.
Of course, man. Yeah, so with us making such similar content, I always see your videos, and we've actually even done a collaboration video. But for the few people who are listening to this that don't know who Josh is, can you give the elevator pitch of how you got into all the stuff that you do now?
Yeah, so I started Instagram about 6 years ago, just created an account pretty much for fun, and it was just like cool cars, cool quotes, cool houses. I was like 15 at the time, so all that sort of stuff that most teenagers think is pretty badass. And didn't think much of it. Found out there was actually a business behind it. Found out like all these people were building these accounts and making an income from it, and just became fascinated with it from there. So spent the next few years in high school just learning as much as I could about it. Finished high school 3 years ago, and since then have been running an agency helping people grow their Instagram after I'd built my own accounts up into the hundreds of thousands of followers. And then recently has been started on YouTube about 18 months ago, I believe it is now. And so nowadays run my Instagram accounts, YouTube channel, and agency for creators.
That's amazing. Man, I wish I started when I was your age, because that's insane. So a lot of people don't really truly grasp, because you said all that, but you said it very modestly. Can you speak to what you were doing from a business perspective at a very, very young age?
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't probably as sophisticated as I could have been at that age with growing them, but I was growing these accounts and pretty much just doing affiliate marketing, promoting other people's products or sometimes services. And I basically did a range of things, sort of hopped between a few different things, did a little bit of drop shipping, a little bit of affiliate, a little bit of selling shout outs and doing brand deals sort of things as well. So it was a whole range. I tested out a whole load of things before I decided just to focus on the agency.
Yeah, that's crazy. And to think that you were making a six-figure income through Instagram before... Well, what's the legal drinking age in your country?
18.
Okay, so right around when you before you could even drink, you were making money on Instagram. That's truly insane. Yeah. I want to ask you this. So when you were that early on, who did you learn from? How did you pick up this information?
So there wasn't really any blogs or YouTube channels or anything like that were really talking about it, and there weren't really even paid courses. So most of it just came from networking and just experimenting. So there were these big group chats on, I can't remember, on Kick Messenger and GroupMe.
Yeah.
And pretty much all of the motivational accounts would be in it. And everyone would just do cross promotions with each other, and you'd pick up things, and we'd all be on there all day long, because most of us were in our teens and just spending all day trying to do this. So we'd always just be picking up things off each other, and that was the main way. As soon as a new technique popped up, within a couple hours, everyone in the group chats would be talking about it, and everyone would go out and use it. So that was probably the main thing. I sort of had one guy that helped me out a little bit, that had a decent following, that sort of showed me some different tricks and stuff, but aside from that, yeah, it was pretty much all networking and just trying stuff out.
That's amazing. So you were just figuring things out along the way, and that's crazy, because being in the early days obviously absolutely played a role and it helped, but it's still possible to grow, in my opinion. But I always hear, and I hear it all, so many people have made this TikTok. The headline is, Instagram is dead. So I'd love to hear your perspectives on that sentence or statement.
Yeah, I mean, so it is definitely, of course, easier if you were doing it 5 years ago. It's going to be easier to grow with less competition, but it's definitely not dead. There are so many people that are popping up. I had a friend that just started literally posting content a few weeks ago, and she went from, I think she had about 6,000 followers, went to 13,000 on a personal brand in the space of a week.
Wow.
Just from posting two, I think she posted twice that week, and it was just 2 engaging Instagram reels. And she blew up from 6,000 to 13,000 within the space of a week, just by having interesting content. So it's not dead, it's just there's a lot more competition around the very, very average content. So if you're competing in that space, it's going to be very, very hard. But if you can get above that and get to get into that top content, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be an incredible editor or anything, but just get your content above like that whole sea of average, then there's always going to be room. Like, it's never saturated with good content. Like, no platform, no industry is ever saturated with incredible stuff. Like, there's always room for a great company to come in and innovate or so on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always people winning. It's just a matter of, are you going to put the time and effort to make yourself one of them? So the friend that you mentioned who had that crazy growth super quickly, what was her niche and like what was unique about her content?
Yeah, she was in the like personal finance niche, and I think she was just making like interesting breakdowns of. It was pretty much just her TikTok videos, putting them onto Instagram, and like just basic tips around saving. So it wasn't even super like, it wasn't crazy editing or anything like that. It was just interesting videos about how to invest. And she was specifically catering for people in Australia. That's where she's from. And she, like exploded her account. She actually got like removed from Instagram for supposedly impersonating herself somehow. But that's another annoying. Yeah, wow. Instagram's playing up at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Geez. So for this friend of yours who repurposed her TikToks, did she only use like the best performing TikToks over on Instagram, or how did she approach bringing them over?
Yeah, I believe so. She would take her most engaging ones from TikTok and bring them over, and I think she was also making some authentically on the platform.
Okay, so with Instagram Reels being the latest feature in their attempt to combat TikTok, what are you telling people who come to you saying, Josh, like, how do I go about creating Reels? Like, what's like a Reels framework that people should follow when creating content?
So obviously an interesting thumbnail to get people to actually click on it is like going to be important. Interesting thumbnail, a hook at the start of the video, something that's going to get them to watch the video, and then do pretty much everything you can to improve the watch time of a video. So like the watch time percentage. So if you can make a 10-second reel, if you can compress it down to 5 seconds and get the same information out there, do it, because a 5-second reel watched twice is better than a 10-second reel watched once. So just like having really engaging music on there, like even if it's not necessarily relevant to the topic, it could just help stimulate people to keep them on the reel, and just cut out all the fluff. So don't have like a big long introduction. Like if you're going to give 3 tips for growing on Instagram, don't be like, hey, my name is Josh, I've grown this and this and this. Like, give people 3 tips for Instagram, and then they can watch it 3 or 4 times and take notes, and that'll spark that watch time. And as long as from what I've seen anyway, as long as you can get a higher watch time percentage, Instagram will push your content out to a lot of people. Okay,
yeah, and that's something that I talk a lot, and I'm a YouTuber, so I'm used to the long form content. So the short form that is necessary almost for success on TikTok and Reels, something that I've really struggled with. But for an experiment, I put like a cap on myself where I had to make it below 30 seconds. And when I did that, my views went up tremendously on TikTok. So you're so right. Like, it's so important to be succinct with a reel or on TikTok, just because attention spans are so short. So if you add any fluff or filler, you're going to lose people, which is sad, but it's true. It's the nature of creating content in 2021.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes that longer sort of 30 to 60 second stuff can work. I just think it's a lot harder to make engaging, because it's a lot harder to captivate someone for 30 or 40 or 50 seconds than it is for like 5 or 6 or 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're providing like some tangible value, the faster you can do it is almost always going to be better for those platforms specifically.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned the watch time on Reels, is there any way to track how long people are watching your Reels?
I don't believe so right now. Yeah, I can't see it on my phone anyway, but I mean, you can see it on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So if you're using it there, I guess you can. Yeah, if you're using both platforms and you're posting on TikTok and Reels, I guess you can look at the analytics on TikTok, because it's probably going to be relatively similar. But I mean, if you want to look at the watch time, I would just look at the view count, because like the ones that are getting the most views are probably the ones that are getting the most watch time. But even if you don't know the watch time like percentage, if you can just try and do things to optimize to make it more engaging in general, it's going to help you out. regardless of if you can track the
Yeah,
watch time. But hopefully they'll bring that
for
out
sure.
soon, the ability.
Yeah, they need to add that, and they need to add analytics for sure. And I was asking you because I know that Instagram's notorious for providing features in different places. So I didn't know if where you were in the world had any access to it. So that's why I asked that. The next thing I want to discuss with you is so many people come to you, especially for starting a theme page. So if you're like, what's your advice to someone who approaches you and says, "I want to start a theme page today"? What are the steps they need to go through?
So to be completely honest, I haven't done lots with theme pages over the past year. I originally grew a lot, and so some of my YouTube content was about that. And now it's probably more targeted towards most of the people we're working with are businesses or personal brands. But with theme pages, I mean, I've probably not got the most up-to-date stuff, but it genuinely just comes down to like just all obviously going for one specific niche. Like don't try and do too many, and just trying to find a way to put a new spin on the content so that it stands out from all the other stuff. So like try and find a way that you can edit your content in a way so it looks better than everyone else's. Just try and, similar to like what you do with a personal brand, find a way to go a step above what's already out there. And that's going to be your best way to grow, because as soon as you can put your content a step above everyone else in your niche, as soon as people start finding it, they're going to share it, they're going to tag their friends, they're going to follow you. Because if someone's already following 10 whatever pages, 10 baseball pages, and they see the 11th one that's posting the same content, they're not going to follow. But if they see the first baseball page that's of this whatever, of this certain style, they're more inclined to follow, because they don't already have that in their feed by 10 other pages that are posting the same stuff.
Absolutely. And I've seen this when I built theme pages for myself. Like, and a lot of people, when they hear this, they hear the advice coming from myself or you saying you have to be unique, and they overcomplicate it. I can give you a very simple example. For a video that I grew a The Office theme page, and I saw that this one page was growing so rapidly, and all they were doing was repurposing clips like everyone else, but they took the extra step to add subtitles. That was literally the only difference, and they were doing so much better because almost no one else was putting in that little bit of effort. So it's that 1% better that makes a world of a difference, especially because Instagram is so competitive in 2021.
Yeah, 100%. I think I watched that video of yours, and yeah, just little things like that go the extra mile are just so worth it.
And it's crazy because people, they'll be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, and it matters so much. So you mentioned that you don't really talk too much about theme pages anymore. So I'd love to hear like why that is and why you see so much value in going the personal brand route on Instagram.
I just think there's more to it when you're looking at personal brands, and it's more of a, like, some people have done it well with theme pages, but I think personal brands and businesses on Instagram in general, it's just more of an interesting, I guess, niche to be in, when you can look at someone who might be able to build a personal brand on Instagram and then start adding a blog and a YouTube channel, and like there's like a real big like business behind the scenes, whereas theme pages is not quite that same, because there's not the same connection with the audience. There's often not too much. So personally, I've just found that more of an interesting thing to be learning about when you're going deeper than Instagram, I would say, is probably the main reason behind that.
Yeah. So when building the personal brand or someone's personal brand, like a lot of people want to go the route of, say that this is so much the case on YouTube, like people want to be like a vlogger, and they say like that's their niche. So I know that doesn't work on YouTube. So when people come to you trying to build their personal brand on Instagram, what are you making sure that they have in order to do that?
Yeah, so you want to, like, for building a personal brand, it's going to be like a personal brand, but it's also kind of going to be like a niche page as well, because it has to actually be about something to grow nowadays. Like, it's going to be very hard to just post pictures of yourself doing whatever and building an audience. Like, even if you are extremely attractive, that is going to be extremely hard to like, even if you follow all the right tactics and you're very, very good looking and you're just posting photos of yourself, you're probably still not going to grow, because there's no real incentive for people to follow you. There's already 1,000 celebrities that have built an Instagram, or 1,000 people that have built become a celebrity because of being good looking on Instagram. There's not like, it's not like there needs to be another one. Like you have to have a reason for people to follow you, something that they're going to learn. Are you going to educate them? Are you going to make them laugh? Are you going to make them smile? Are you going to make them happy? How are you going to impact that person and give them a real reason to follow you is probably the best thing that differentiates you.
Yeah. I get so many DMs from people that will like say, man, I can't grow. I'm sure you get these all the time. And they'll be like, oh, and they'll send me a profile, and they're like, my content's just like theirs, or it's as good as theirs. And the person that they send me is like a full-blown celebrity. And I'm like, They can do that stuff because they are the celebrity. Like, that's not your value. People want that because it is the celebrity. They wouldn't care what they were doing. They just want to know what they're doing. So I constantly say like there has to be value behind your content. But so many people get confused by that. So can you try to, I know it's very hard to do, but can you define what valuable content needs to have in order to be valuable?
I don't know if there's like a specific thing that all content has to fit in to be valuable. I think it's just about understanding who you're trying to reach, like who you're trying to build as your audience, and how you can serve them in some way. So like, I don't know if there's a specific way to say it, but like if you're a fitness coach, how can you create content that is going to help people lose weight or build muscle, or if whatever like your specific niche is inside of that. If you're a comedian, how can you create content that's going to make people laugh? If you're, I don't know, it's just like trying to work out how you can create content that will serve your specific audience, and it's going to be different for everyone. And that whole like vlogger sort of niche is rather hard to differentiate yourself, but yeah, I don't know if there's a specific answer to that, but just putting out just looking at your content and thinking, how can this help someone that's going to follow me? And to add to your other, when you just mentioned about like comparing yourself to celebrities, I can't remember who said, I think it was Ryan Holiday who said it, like if you're not first, you have to be best. So if you're starting on social media now and you're going into the same niche that people have been into for a long time, you can't simply do the same stuff that they're doing. Like you have to, if you're coming to the game late, you got to be best. So you got to find a way to be better than them, or be the first in your niche. So you can get away with being average content if you're the first person in your niche, because average is going to be the best if no one else is in it. But if you're coming to a niche where there's already a bunch of celebrities, a bunch of big people are doing it, or if you're going into a business and in that industry there's a ton of big companies, you can't just do the same. You got to find a way to do it better. Like you say, adding subtitles to the videos for the office clips or something like that.
Yeah. What I love that you said about the whole value piece is it comes down to understanding, right? It's understanding what you are, like what you're offering, who you're for, and how you can help amplify what they take away from that content. And it can be just like the slightest differentiation between what you already see out there, but how can you take this to the next level? You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just have to make it a little more valuable or a little more seamless of a transition. So really love that you did that. I think a lot of people should go through that thought exercise before they invest too much into growing any page or on YouTube in general. Too, is just have a solid understanding of exactly what you're trying to do, because I think a lot of people, they just keep marching on without an understanding of where they're trying to get to.
Yeah, 100%. And just consciously thinking about it, like you say.
100%. So we've kind of touched on this, but I want like a definitive answer if you can give one. Should someone start a meme page today in 2021? Like, is it still worthwhile to start one?
I think like specifically like a meme page where you're like reposting the funny jokes or funny clips is probably a bit overdone by now. Like unless there's some really creative angle you can add to it, then I would probably say avoiding those ones. Like, you can still start like niche pages around different topics that you're interested in, but like that like meme page has been going since the start of Instagram. There's been like thousands and thousands, probably millions of them. So I would say a meme page specifically is probably going to be very, very hard unless you can pick like a subcategory. So like when you did your challenge, you did the office memes, or someone could start a meme page around a specific show. Like I don't know, I don't really watch that much Netflix, but if there's a new Netflix show, you could start a meme page based around that show, and you could grow that very fast because you might be the first person to make a meme page in that. You create some interesting ones, and it can just take off. So once again, it just comes down to finding like some sort of small niche, smaller subcategory that you can build an account in if you want to be successful in it. And you can definitely start other niche pages as well in 2021 and do well with them.
Absolutely. I think what people really have to understand is the first point that you said there is like you still can find success doing that, but because it's so contested, starting a general meme page like Daquan or even something like Puberty with such a wide net, it's going to be difficult to get to those levels. Whereas if you pick more of a narrow focus, it's better to start narrow and then broaden later once you have an audience and the leverage to do that, as long as it's around the same focus, rather than trying to appeal to everyone at first, because there's just so much out there. You're not going to get found amongst all of the noise out there. So
exactly.
You mentioned before that you learned everything that you knew about Instagram primarily from networking and trial and error. Now that it's evolved to the point where Instagram is so in demand, how do you still stay ahead of the curve when it comes to Instagram?
So I still learn a fair bit from networking. I definitely don't do it as much as I was, because I was pretty much on it all day on the different forums and like group chats and so on, just trying to learn. But I still learn a lot from networking. I've got a handful of friends that sort of do similar stuff, and we're always sharing ideas and different ways to grow. And then, I mean, I follow a few people on YouTube, such as yourself and a few other creators who are constantly making new videos on new topics and new strategies and so on, which helps. And then I do buy the odd course, so there's a handful of different people I've bought courses from and go through those, and still trial and error. So the same trial and error and networking, but also YouTubers, courses. That's
additional
pretty much it. Trying to stay up to date. Pardon?
Just additional resources. You're adding it in there.
Yeah, exactly. So still the same fundamentals, but also adding that on top too.
Awesome. So on the note of courses, or I guess info products in general, what are the best ways to monetize off of Instagram?
I mean, selling your information as a personal brand is a pretty successful way to do it, and a pretty lucrative way to do it. If you can put together like a coaching program or a course or something like that, works really well, or packaging it up into like some sort of service, which is relevant to some niches but not necessarily others. Like our niche, for example, was experts of a social media. If you can package up a service that you can have other people run for you, that is a great way to monetize your audience as well. But similar to the point on creating valuable content, again, it does come down to understanding like who your audience is and why they follow you. So once you can establish that, like who are they, why are they following me, and how can you go beyond your content to serve them even more. So like for the comedian example, maybe put together a comedy special, which is all your best stuff that you've got, and that's going to serve someone more than just a 30-second clip of a recent show, and you might sell that. Or if you're putting out fitness tips, then maybe you've got an 8-week program that you can sell people, or a one-on-one help, or so on. It just comes down to really establishing who follows you and why they follow you, and then going beyond that. And as far as selling goes, I think the best way to sell on Instagram is just through testimonials and results. If you can show the results that you're getting your clients or your students or whatever, that is by far the easiest way to sell.
Absolutely. I think so many people that aren't monetizing on social and with Instagram specifically, a lot of them, they think like, okay, well, I'm giving this content away for free. Why would people pay for it? And I think that's like the wrong way to look at things, because people will buy the stuff because of what you're giving away for free, right? So I think that's a major limiting belief that I've even had to struggle with too. But it is the thing. It's like if you can amplify the experience, like that's what people are paying for, and that's why they justify that information. Like people go to Josh because they want to learn about Instagram. But if you want to learn the best, like anything, you have to pay for that. So you have courses right now. How do you go about building your curriculum so that you ensure that people who buy it are happy with it?
Um, I mean, to be completely honest, I'm probably not the best person to talk about creating like massive courses. It's not really something that I've done lots of. Like I've got, like you say, I've got like a mini course on my YouTube channel which I promote, but I haven't got like all these high ticket things like a lot of people. But I I don't know if I've necessarily followed any specific framework or strategy to put together a course. I literally just pretty much work out like if I was going to grow a client on Instagram, because that's my niche on YouTube is obviously Instagram marketing. If I was going to grow a client, what would I do? And the first thing I'd do would be this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And then I pretty much just package that up into what steps someone else can take to grow their own account. So like it might be like optimizing the profile is obviously going to be the first thing I would do if I'm trying to grow a client. And so I make a module on that, and then it's going to be how do you research, who you're trying to reach and how you can serve them, and so I make a module on that, and it pretty much just comes down to that, what I would do for a client, and then put it into that.
Awesome. So, if anyone's listening to this right now and they want to connect with you, where are the best places to find your content and connect with you?
Yeah, best place is pretty much just YouTube. Josh Ryan on YouTube, or Josh Ryan on Instagram is pretty much my two places I'm most active if you're trying to reach out.
Awesome. So all of Josh's links will be in the show notes or description, depending on how you're consuming this. So I know you're a busy guy, so I only have 2 more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. I appreciate your time today. Do you think that TikTok will overtake Instagram as like the primary social mobile platform?
There's a chance that it could, but if I was betting on it, I would say no. I would say that Instagram will probably still innovate, and I think it definitely could happen. Like I'm not saying it won't happen, but I think if I was a betting man, I would be putting my money on Instagram.
All right, so we lost Josh there, but we're back now. So Josh, pick up where you left off. Why do you see Instagram remaining the king over TikTok?
Yeah, so I just think that Instagram, like the team behind Instagram, always seem to basically just take the best products from other platforms and bring it into their own, and find a way to almost do it better. Like Instagram stories are better than Snapchat stories by a long shot. And I think that whilst TikTok at the moment is probably better, like TikTok is probably better than Reels as a consumer of content. I think I would probably prefer look at TikToks and Reels, but I think over time Instagram will find a way to do it better and eventually fend off the competition. And I could be wrong about that. TikTok could take over, but I think Instagram's also just got more, because like Instagram have got the Reels, but they've also got more of like, I guess, a community sort of feel to it, like where you're interacting with creators that TikTok doesn't really have. TikTok's very much like a viral in the moment. There's not that, you don't really feel as connected to the creators, if that makes sense, which you get with Instagram.
That makes total sense. You literally took the words exactly out of my mouth. It comes down to the connection piece. Like, there's a massive opportunity to go viral on TikTok, but that blessing is also a curse because so can everybody else.
Yeah.
Meaning that these people who are following like crazy, they don't have any sort of relationship with the people they follow. Whereas Instagram, it's far more of an intimate connection if someone were to follow you, and they see you far more consistently. Yeah. So I think that's why Instagram, unless they screw up, I think it'll be hard for TikTok to overtake them because the experience is just so different. And I think the value of a follower is still exponentially higher on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, TikTok would have to find some way to add that community aspect. But if they added that community aspect, they would probably lose the viral aspect. So they're trying to, I don't think they're going to beat Instagram at Instagram's main game.
Yes.
Like they're beating them at the moment because of because of the TikTok like style of content. But to beat them, they'd have to, I can't see it happening, but as a creator, then like definitely jump on TikTok and use the viral potential of it. Like jump on there, use it to get a bunch of followers, come across to your Instagram and your YouTube channel and your blog and whatever. But I think Instagram in the long run will win it.
Okay, and I actually just thought of an additional question, so we still have 2 more for you. So, in your opinion, as someone who is very active on both Instagram and YouTube, which platform is more valuable in your opinion?
So I think over the long run, YouTube is probably more value just because of the whole like compounding effect of it. Like you can put out You can put out a video today that'll get views in 2 or 3 years, which you can't really do with Instagram.
Hmm.
So I think that aspect of it, like the long term nature of your content, I love about YouTube. But at the same time, Instagram's a lot easier to get started on and start building up an audience, because like you can put out a piece of content per day on Instagram, which might take you 5 to 10 minutes, whereas like for a YouTube video, it might take like 10 hours to find an idea, write out your video script, film it, edit it, do all the SEO, make your thumbnail. Like that could take 10,
It's a
20.
lot.
Some people take way longer than that. And to be able to do that every single week, or once a month, or whatever your schedule is going to be, can be quite hard. So I think Instagram's an easier to get started on, but I think YouTube, if you can put in the effort over the long run, is going to be better.
Agree completely, man. I'm a huge believer in both, and I think they're both
Yeah.
very valuable. I think YouTube on a per subscriber, per follower basis is more valuable, but you're totally right. Like there is so much more that goes into making a video. So if that's the reason why you're not creating content, then absolutely start on Instagram and start building that way. You can always do both later, but I'd rather you start now and start getting some momentum of some kind wherever it's most attainable for you, your schedule, your budget, and all that stuff.
100%. I think they actually complement each other really, really well.
Mhm.
Even though they're different companies, like I think they work really, really well together, because you can build up an audience on YouTube that can then follow you on Instagram, and they can have conversations with you on Instagram. They can DM you, they can talk to you, which they can't really do on YouTube. And so that's a great way that they can sort of work together. And then the same goes the other way. Like you can get followers on Instagram, and then you can send them to your YouTube, where they're going to be consuming 20-minute long videos of you and building more of a connection with you. So it's going to help, like building up your Instagram will help you on YouTube, and building up your YouTube will help you on Instagram. So I think they actually work really, really well together.
Yeah, 100%. I think they feed off each other tremendously well. And that leads me into my last question. So, say in a hypothetical scenario, tomorrow Zuckerberg called you and said, Josh, you're in charge of Instagram. What would you do to the platform to try to take it to the next level?
Far out, that's a big one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I would probably, I feel like just find a way to better distribute the content. I feel like a lot of people at the moment like are very upset with the way that content is put out, and like the
Mhm.
very unpredictable nature of it. I would say seems to be the familiar trend in my comments. So finding a way to like better, even though I've got no idea how I would actually go about doing that, finding a way to better put out content to make the creators happier, about that, just to get more creators using the platform. And I'd probably simplify it as well. I feel like Instagram's got so much going on at the moment. Like
Mhm.
um, they've got their guides that they've been bringing out. They've got the reels. They've got photos. They've got stories. They've got Instagram TV. Find a way to just sort of like simplify the best features, which is probably stories, reels, and like the normal feed, and just double down on making that better. So like maybe it comes down to better distributing the content. So just doubling down on what they're doing best, and making it awesome. And also support, even if it costs a few million a year to get some people on support. Instagram's got no support, and I hate it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we deal with that too much. So that's definitely a pain point. I think if I were in the position, I would totally echo what you said there. I think it needs to be far more streamlined. There's too much frustration and bottlenecks for people to create because there's like option overload. There's just so much. And
Yeah,
to build off that, I think that a big thing that they're severely lacking in is the education point of view. They equip people with the features, but not the know-how, nor the explanation as to like
yeah,
what a successfully executed reel is, or like what a great IGTV looks like. So people keep pumping out content, and a lot of it's trash because I think a lot of it comes down to Instagram. They don't educate the general user as to what will work, what won't work, how to actually put it together. So those are the two things that I would focus on, and I could not agree with you more. Like they need more support, big time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an ongoing battle.
It really is, man. It really is. Well, Josh, I hope to make you
Yeah,
a regular on the show if you'll give me the time. So I want to thank you so much for coming
yeah, man.
on. Once again, we already mentioned where people can find you, but one more time, what's the best place to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, most of my content goes out on YouTube regarding Instagram tips. So if you want to learn about Instagram and stuff, similar content to Ben's, Josh Ryan on YouTube. If you want to connect with me, then Instagram's probably the best place to message me. Just Josh Ryan once again on there. And yeah, love being on the show. Would more than happily come on here regularly.
But awesome. Boom. I was trying to say boom and I couldn't get it out. Boom. That's what I'm trying to say. So thanks so much for coming on, man. Go follow Josh. He's an absolute legend who brings tons of great value. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate you, and we'll definitely do this again soon.
Awesome, man. Cheers for having me.